Hello, and yes, students, I know I told you that I'll be putting up the video by tonight or today evening, but actually had to check the mock test papers of my students here, and since the examination is on 21st, so I had to do a bit of this and that, due to which I got delayed and I had couldn't put up this video on time or by before 12 o'clock, but I'm sure it will be soon put up somewhere around 1 or 1:30 or somewhere around at that point of time. So you'll get benefited by the video. You can watch it, and yes, by tomorrow as well there might be a little bit of delay because ICSE, so I have to guide a bit of my student, and with not just ICSE student but also class 9 students, the examinations are going on, and class 11 students' examinations are going on, so due to which it got a bit delayed. But anyhow, as I promised, I'll keep my promise and I will definitely try and deliver whatever it is that I'm supposed to be delivering. So without any further delay, we'll get into the video of narrative composition and what is it that you need to focus on and what are the probable topics. So let's get started and let's get the best out of it. So basically what we need to focus on when we are focusing on the narrative essay is imagination. Narrative essay, by and by, it's basically based on your imagination. Most of the time the ICSE, the council people, they'll tell you to imagine so and so scenario, you are in so and so situation, so it is to do a lot with your imagination. You have to think a lot, and you have to imagine certain scenarios and you have to write according to that. So for that, you obviously the essay has to be imaginative. A lot of you people were asking me during the live session, ma'am, how can we get more marks in the composition, what can we do, what is it? So this is what you do when you're attempting narrative essay. Make sure one of the kernel aspects of narrative essay is imagination. So make sure that your essay is creative and imaginative. And what do I mean by creative and imaginative? Which means that do not include unnecessary information or waste your time into writing how you came to that point. It has to be fun to the readers. The readers have to get excited about it. It has to be engaging enough. So you use your imagination and make it engaging enough. Now I'll try and explain this point when I give you the probable topics, and then I'll make sure that you know how you can do it. It's very closely related to another of the components of the narrative essay, so you'll get my point in a minute or so. The next is setting the scene. So obviously, how can you make it imaginative? By setting the scene. So create an appropriate atmosphere. If you're told to do if the atmosphere of it is rural, then talk about the village, talk about the scenes and scenarios of village setting. Create an atmosphere like that. If you're writing about a zombie attack, then your essay setting should reflect that. Your essay should reflect that. It cannot take place in a garden. It has to take place in a deserted place. So setting the scene is very important for your narrative essay. You have to focus on using proper adjectives, using proper vocabulary, and hence vocabulary inevitably also becomes an important component of narrative essay. Then the third point is chronological order. In narrative essay, we do follow chronology. So you have an introduction, you have a beginning, or in beginning you have middle and you have end. So you have to go in that way. That is how most narrative essays are. And then focusing on emotions. Now if you look at the past papers of the ICSE, as I was looking, what I observed was that usually they give you a topic where they tell you to where they put you into in this unforeseeable situations, predicaments. So you have to talk about, they will put you in a situation which has never happened before, an embarrassing situation, a good situation, a bad situation, a memorable situation, all of this. So there, what are you feeling in that kind of situation? That emotion, what emotions are you feeling? How you're navigating through? What is it? What is your emotional state of mind? What is your psychological state of mind? So that emotion should be reflected in it. So that is why by the end of the video, I'll also read out a couple of lines from one of the ICSE solutions so that you understand this emotional aspect as well at the end of the video. And then the last point that is this, begin with a bang, closely related to the first point, that is the narrative essay has to be imaginative. What does begin with a bang imply? Begin with a bang imply that your introduction should be interesting enough, should be arresting enough to catch the attention of the reader. Now, how are you going to do that? How do you end up writing an essay which has an introduction which catches the attention of the reader? You do that by either setting up the scene really well. So your scene should be set up really well. You come up with a good beginning. So you talk about the way, for instance, if I am to, again, when I'll go to the example, when I'll go to the probable topics, I'll explain this just in a minute. I'll explain how you could begin with a bang. So you could actually talk about setting up the scene. You could talk about the scene really well. So the example, one of the ways that you can do is by creating a atmosphere, by creating a good scene, you could do that. Or what you can do that is you could try and jump directly into the narrative. So rather than setting up the scene, take the narrator, take the plunge, and take the reader directly into the narrative. Begin with the middle, begin in the middle. Or what you could do is you could begin with a dialogue with an unusual detail. So beginning with an unusual detail, beginning with in the middle, beginning with a dialogue, or setting up the atmosphere. These are a couple of ways through which you could actually begin with a bang. You could actually begin with a captivating beginning. Now, as I told you that I'll be taking you to the topics. Now, before we get closely into these topics, one of my word of caution would be that these topics are the probable topics. But how are they the probable topics? These topics act like a framework for your examination tomorrow, that is on 21st. These topics are topics which will help you, which will save your time. So if you're going there and you get some topic, if you've practiced at least 2 to 3 from these, you would not spend your time, you would not waste your time thinking, how should I approach it? How should you approach it is getting solved here and there when you are attempting these topics. So these topics help you to get a foothold, help you to get ahead in the race, get far ahead in the race before with as compared to the rest of the kids, because you already have had that you've already have had that practice. So you know how to begin. You know that, okay, the topic has put me into this situation. Ma'am gave me a topic where I had to imagine. I know the introduction, I've already attempted it. I can do something similar to it. So then you can mold it according to the topic given by the ICSE, but the framework, the bone, the structure is already there because you've practiced these topics. Now, for instance, narrate an incident where you display skills to help somebody. Now, what ICSE does is it actually makes you think about topics which are, so far what it has done so far is it makes you write narrative essays on scenarios where you're either helping someone, or whether you're either learning something, or whether you are in a kind of a difficult situation, or you are imagining a kind of change in the world or change somewhere in your own self. So what I have done is I have amalgamated, I have put up all those topics, created a bone structure kind of topics for you all, so that if you attempt any of these, you can clearly go then easily mold it according to the topic that they have given, if they somehow reflect the pattern of the what has happened so far in the past 10 years. Now, narrate an incident where you had to display your skills to help somebody. So here, how can you begin with a bang? You can begin with a bang by giving a dialogue like, could you give me a hand? She stared directly at my eyes and asked. So here when you're writing this, as a reader, I'm like, who is she? And what is happening? So from the first moment itself, I get interested. And then you could go ahead, one of my best friends asked me, and then you could go ahead and talk about how both of you were in a jungle, are trapped in a jungle. Then you go ahead and describe the setting of the jungle, the whole ambience, the atmosphere, set it up really well, put in a couple of obstacles, and maybe you are someone who does these scouting, camping, so those skills, or you're someone who's good with navigation. try to make it more interesting by putting up more obstacles. One of you gets injured, you have somehow separated from the whole other campus, or from your other classmates. An animal is chasing after you, or it's pretty dark and you cannot go back. So increase all of that to make it more interesting. And then how you're bonding also. So one is the physical difficulties, obstacles, impediments that you, again, another word for obstacle is impediment. You could also use the word impediment in your answer. Someone was talking about vocabulary, so this is how you do. But it's not possible for me to give you a list, although I'll try if I can, if the time permits. But yes, here and there in my videos I'm going to tell you what word can be used for what. So stay tuned and keep on watching attentively. Yeah, so that is there. You could do that and make your essay interesting enough. Imagine a situation where you end up forgetting your way. Again, one of the ways where you have been put up into a difficult situation. Narrate how you find, how did you learn. So narrative essay is basically about contemplation. Again, instead of writing thinking, you could use the word contemplation, reflection, reflecting upon anything, or pondering. So these are again the words which would enhance your vocabulary. Narrate an incident will change your perception not only about the world, because recently in 2023 they gave you one thing you'd like to change about your school. So the topic that I have given you is changing your perception about the world, but also your character. Again, what can happen if you attempt this essay, any topic that comes to closer to change or anything related to that, you already have a framework, because you've already talked about change, you've already talked about change in the world, or you've already talked about how to go about that essay. So it saves your time, it prepares you a little bit. So there you do not have to think a lot in that structure wise, but you have to think about content wise. And your class was interested with the responsibility of organizing school sports. Write what you did, how you did, go about it, create wonderful atmosphere, and complete your essay. So that's all for narrative essay. The next video would be on your grammar practice. I hope to see you there, and I hope that I've put in a lot of effort, because a lot of questions in that grammar has been made purely and solely by me. So it's my hard work, and irrespective of running tight on the schedule, I'm still trying my best to help you out. Yes, children, so I hope that was really beneficial to you. It was helpful for you. As I said, these are not by all end all the all topics, but if you attempt them, if you follow the components of the narrative essay and attempt them, then you're definitely and in a way better position than you would be if you do not attempt them, or if you do not focus on them. Till then, keep on studying hard. As promised, I'll be also putting up a grammar practice video as well. You'll be getting it, both the videos back to back. Practice them, and once we get to it, I'll also be explaining a little bit of here and there answers as well. Meet you in the next video where you have the whole of grammar test, and also do comment down your score, how much you scored and whatever is there. And let's hope that this practice gives you a good foothold, gives you a good push, gives you a good standing to prepare you really well for your examination tomorrow.